Hey guys, Paul here. I'm tidying up my electronic gear here today. Thought it'd be a good opportunity to give some of you starting out with the Internet of Things, Arduinos, breadboard projects, circuitry, different modules, and sensors, how to get started for a low cost. I've been accumulating this stuff basically over about the past year. And for just a low budget, I'm just going with a plastic tote here. I've got a Sterilite tote with a nice lid, locking handles, and this is kind of the base of operations. You can see I keep my stuff in the handy plastic bags that it came in, shipped. Most of this stuff direct from China, bought on eBay. And I even use the packing foam, which comes in handy for protecting some of these parts, like my liquid crystal display. That's a 16 by 2 line liquid crystal display. That's pretty cool to have if you're getting into Arduino and you want to see printed out text instead of looking at your serial port all the time. So that just protects that screen. So, you really don't need to invest a lot of extra money in keeping your stuff nice and organized. All right, starting from the back, I've got some nice soldering boards here with copper backing to them for soldered projects, which leads me, of course, you're going to need a soldering iron. Even for things like soldering the header pins onto an Arduino Nano, like this little guy right here, just very convenient to have a soldering iron and solder. Now I'm using 0.8 millimeter solder. I find that that works very well for small projects. You're going to need a multimeter to check voltage, if nothing else, to check the voltage on your batteries. And you can pick these up really cheap. What you see back here is a small solar panel that I've used to actually power up some Arduino projects recently. Check out my previous videos on that. And you're going to need a battery charger. When you're out in the field and doing stuff remotely powering your Arduinos, microcontrollers, you're going to have to invest in rechargeable batteries, or you should invest in rechargeable batteries. I've got a bunch of these 1.2 volt, 3000 milliamp. I don't know if that's exactly 3000 milliamp, but again, direct from China. Got tons of these guys and different battery cases for different voltage. Even got one of these guys, which would, with 1.5 volts, would be a full 12 volt pack. In reality, with the 1.2 volts, I'm getting around 10 volts with that, and that seems to work pretty well. With a 3000 milliamp or so, these last a long time. And I've also got rechargeable 9 volts with 600 milliamp capacity there. These are very, very handy to use as well. You're going to need to get different types of battery connectors like for those as well. Like right here you can see on my AT Mega 328 board, these handy 9 volt battery leads that plug right into the board. So you're going to want a variety of leads for your power as well, which leads me into this bag. I've got all my leads in this bag for, as I mentioned, the 9 volt stuff. I've also got different connections for different USB. And you're going to need breadboards, of course, too. I like these big ones give you a lot more versatility than the small ones, although the small ones are pretty cool, for mounting something like your Nano microcontroller, which I do not take out of this. I mean, once that's seated in, I just kind of leave it there. This guy back here is pretty cool. This is a power supply. Actually, I've got another one right here. But these things, this is just great stuff to pick up. This mounts right into your breadboard, and you can power it by USB, very convenient, or you can plug it in to a DC input like I have over here. And it's got an LED status light. It's got an on-off switch. Just very, very cool. You can pick this stuff up, literally just for a buck or two. And again, wrapping that in the foam, just protects those kind of more sensitive modules and components that have parts that stick out that can break. Get a 8 ohm speaker, or a couple of these speakers too. They all have magnets on the back of them, so they stick to each other and they stick to everything else. So it's a good idea to keep those kind of isolated, else they can literally pick up every resistor and capacitor in the neighborhood. But that's really good for the audio projects. Now in this bag I've got my many different microcontroller modules. I've got a temperature humidity sensor right there, and I've got my transmitter, radio RF transmitter there, Bluetooth module, receiver there, as well as an LM386 amplifier module for audio applications. Now just a few tools will get you by. These pen style screwdrivers with flathead and Phillips head of different sizes are really indispensable. These things are cheap, maybe $2 or $3 at your local hardware store, and I use this quite a bit. Also, you're going to need a pair of wire strippers, of course. And I also use a cheap micro tool, multi-tool, especially for the pliers. I mean, to go and grabbing out header pins, for example. So if you're just getting started out with this stuff, or even if you're a seasoned pro, you know that you've got to have a whole bunch of capacitors of different values and resistors. Now, one thing I've found is a good tip is that I find often we use the same value capacitors and resistors over and over, and then we start, pulling them out of the packages and not putting them back, and it can lead to just having a whole bunch of stray caps and resistors. So what I've done here is I've got my stray baggie with my most commonly used values, and then I'm keeping the larger bag with all the individual sorted values in this bag. So it's good just to keep using the bag with your most common values, because chances are the value you're looking for is something that you've already pulled out. So keep two of those things going. And the same thing for the resistors. These are my most commonly used values, and I actually marked some of these to get more familiar with the coloration. But I mean, you got to get a good assortment variety pack of resistors, but keeping a separate bag of the most common used values is really going to save you a lot of time. If you're getting into breadboard projects, Arduino, you're definitely going to want to pick up some LEDs. Plus, these are just so much fun to light up, and got a nice color sample here of different colors, as well as the RGB, the red, green, blue tri-colored LEDs are a lot of fun, but you're going to be using a lot of these, and yes, you are going to fry some too, so make sure you don't skimp and have a nice collection there. Got some 10K potentiometers there. You'll see I keep these things planted in that foam that they come with. It's really good to keep that around because they stick in there really nice, and I've got some nicer pots there as well, 10K. And sometimes I keep my modules, like this is a motion sensor module, in their separate bags. This is a bag of all the leads that I use. Now, I've got alligator clips in here. I've got the leads, the female leads that take the header pins. I put those in as needed. Very versatile, and you can pull them out. This is how I pull out the header pins. You can pull those out as needed. And I've also got, like that white one right there, all male leads, male to male, are also very useful. So have a variety of that, of the alligator clips, of the male to male, of the female, that you can add your own header pins into and take out as needed. And that can just be very versatile. I've also got 24 gauge wire in here as well, in a couple different colors for soldering projects. So all kind of my wiring is in this big bag. Makes it very easy to get at. I keep all my ICs in its own bag, and again, mounted on that foam. It's very easy to read the different ICs through the bag. Got a variety of 555 timers in here, LM386 and 358 amp modules, as well as NAND gate integrated circuit chips. So all my ICs are in one easy to reference bag. This is my radio frequency RF radio projects bag with miscellaneous stuff. I've got microphones in there, different diodes. I've got my oscillating crystals in here, inductors, got a variable capacitors here you can see, and some audio application stuff as well. So yeah, I do a lot of RF projects, so I kind of have a bag for all of that stuff. If you, whatever your kind of specialty is or whatever you focus on, you may want to have a bag just for those components. I've also got a bag of switches. I really like these large push button switches, and I've got some on-off switches in here as well. The big push button is a momentary switch. I've got some of the cheaper small momentary switches, and also stuff I've just taken out of salvaged from other circuits. And of course, transistors. I'm partial to the NPN transistor. These are the backbone for circuit board logic. So yeah, that's an overview of my stuff. I look forward to hearing you guys what you're using for a low-cost, well-organized system for your Arduino microcontroller, Internet of Things, breadboard circuit projects. Thanks for watching. Please give the video a thumb up. Look forward to hearing you guys below in the comments section. And subscribe to my channel if you're new around here. And look around for my RF and electronics playlist, because I've got much more going on there. And you guys have a great day.